Honestly, what these filmmaking brothers have to say about Hollywood here in this article that we're going to be taking a look at is totally shocking. I did not expect this at all, what they have to say, but these brothers are very much within Hollywood. They very much understand what is happening in the culture within Hollywood, and what they have to say here is crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and get right into it, because I was not expecting this, and I think you guys are going to be just as shocked as I was. But this is what they had to say, and I don't even know if I necessarily agree with what they have to say, but obviously, like I said, they are actually the people who are within Hollywood. So it's interesting to hear what they have to say. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Faith film directors John and Andy Irwin share exciting details of how God is working in Hollywood. And I just have to go like, really? Is this really what's happening in Hollywood? Because by all indicators, everything that we are seeing with the content that is being put out by Hollywood, this is not the case at all. And of course, you know, what they have to say here is just not, it doesn't really compute with me, but let's go ahead and see what they have to say. Coming off box office successes with the biopic American Underdog, which was a film that came out earlier this year, and I can only imagine directors John and Andy Irwin continue to make waves in the film industry, yada, yada, yada. And then, in fact, the brothers who were recently on hand to take home the Film Impact Award for American Underdog at the K-Love Fan Awards say that God is doing mighty things in Hollywood. So let's see what they have to say here.
And I'll say this for your readers and listeners, there is a revolution and renaissance of Christianity in Hollywood right now, all over the industry. And I'm just grateful that we get to play a small role. But God is just working in every studio, outside the system, inside the system. It's an uprising, and it's fun to be a part of it. So I think you're going to see more and more of the films as they get bigger and better. God's working in Hollywood right now.
Okay, and like I said, I have a hard time seeing that, because in what we are seeing in the films that are continuing to come out from Hollywood, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it, especially in a lot of the bigger films that are coming out and everything else. Everything about Hollywood is just so focused on anger and pushing neo-Marxist ideologies and, you know, pushing the woke agenda and everything else. I just do not see what they are saying here. I just don't see it. As someone who actually sees the products that are coming from Hollywood, that is really what speaks to me at the end of the day. Actions speak louder than words, right? So the actions that they are taking in the films that they are making, I just don't see what they're talking about here. But let's see what else they have to say here.
Can you give me a specific example?
Yeah. I'm trying. Yeah, I mean, I could. I remember when we did the deal with Lionsgate. You know, Lionsgate makes our films. One of the major department heads at Lionsgate that runs one of the major divisions of Lionsgate was outside the CEO's office, and he waved us over, and he said in a whisper, "I just want you to know, like, I'm a Christian. There are some Christians here. We're so glad you're here." And it was like, I think this is the moment that you can be, you know, that you can sort of be vocal about it. You know, it's okay. And
wow. Okay. I mean, look, I've talked to quite a few people who work in Hollywood, and everything that I've heard from them, okay, they do not feel that way. They don't feel that they can be vocal about what they believe or what they, you know, their opinions or anything like that. From everything that I've heard from the people that I have talked to who work in Hollywood, they're very much still afraid about what they can or cannot say working in that industry. So, you know, maybe it's different for the Irwin brothers because they work with more of the faith-based side of Hollywood. Maybe it's a little bit different for them. But for the majority of people that are still working in Hollywood, I just don't know if that's necessarily the truth. You know what I mean? So it's just, I have a very hard time believing what they are saying here. Maybe they're correct about this, but like even they said here, this guy had to whisper to them that he was a Christian. Like, that to me doesn't sound like he's being able to be very vocal about what he believes. You know what I mean?
even Dennis Quaid being here tonight and in some of these films is another. But I found that at every level of the industry, there are Christians just waiting for the right opportunity, and it just feels like a landslide right now, even in finance and studio heads and all kinds of. I've never.
All right, now look, I'm coming at it with a completely different point of view than the Irwin brothers here. The Irwin brothers are like, yeah, you got to get in Hollywood, man. You got to just get in there and make the magic happen there in Hollywood. I do not believe that way at all. In fact, that is what EpicVerse Studios is all about, the film company that I am starting. And we are very much going to be doing things very differently than Hollywood, okay? We are going to be making films that are outside of Hollywood. If you want to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel for EpicVerse. We have a Twitter page and everything else. You can go follow us there. But we are very much going to be doing things differently than Hollywood. That means from everything, okay? The stories we tell are not the types of stories that you're going to be seeing coming from Hollywood. And that's a good thing. You know, we've studied a lot of things. We've studied a lot of the anime stuff that is gaining popularity. We've studied a lot of stories that are classic stories that have continued to stand the test of time. Those are the types of things that we are inspired by, and that's the type of stuff that we want to continue to lean towards as far as our storytelling goes. We want to do everything different than Hollywood and at EpicVerse Studios, and that is something that is inspiring to me, is the fact that there are so many people out there that are willing to support that and are willing to be involved in that and don't want to be involved in the Hollywood way of doing things. And so I think the Irwin brothers are looking at this completely differently. They obviously sound very optimistic about Hollywood. As far as I'm concerned, Hollywood can burn to the ground, and that is totally fine with me. Okay, that is totally fine. I have no interest in working with that. I am doing things differently, and I'm very excited for what I'm doing, and I'm very proud of what I am doing with my team. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about what the Irwin brothers have to say here in the comments below. I would like to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure you all have very interesting opinions about this. So let me know, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.